every hiker knows that part of the thrill of hiking a trail is not only getting to the destination, but viewing the things around them. Maybe it's the flora and fauna of the area, the trees, the landscape, maybe a wild animal print, or even a wild animal, something you wouldn't see in your office or where you work. But once in a while, you'll stumble on something that's even more exciting than that. And right here along the historic Delphi trails, we have found just such a place. Wayne Bischoff is a archaeological grad student from Michigan State.
Yes.
And Wayne, why are you digging up the area around the trails?
Well, that's a good question. What we are doing is going along the trail system of Delphi, where they plan to put trails, and testing them using scientific methodology for any historic or prehistoric sites which would be sensitive. And the DNR has a long list of what a sensitive site is, and what we have found is one of the rarest sites in the state of Indiana. This feature right here, probably it can be related to the construction of the Wabash and Erie Canal, which in this area happened back in 1838 to 1840. Go ahead.
Okay, so now you're saying that this is an important area. When we walked up here, and as if we were walking down the trail, this just looks like an overgrown riverbank. How did you determine this was a great place to dig?
Well, originally we thought it was just an overgrown riverbank too. What we were looking for is Native American sites, which they occupied this ridge behind us. So what we were doing was testing every 40 feet along this entire ridge line along the Wabash, and lo and behold, Aaron, who I am working with, Aaron Williams, found with a random shovel test, which is about this big, the very topmost of this huge fireplace right here. Once we found this, we decided to expand it outward and to this size that we have now, which is 9 feet going east-west by 6 feet north-south. And as we exposed more of this structure became visible until what you see today.
Well, Aaron, how did you know that it was a fireplace? It looked like just a brick.
Well, when we came down on it, we discovered that not only were they just bricks, but they were bricks that were laid up in a horizontal fashion, which screams cultural activity. This is not a natural thing. And what we were trying to find was anything cultural. So that's when we kind of backed off and took a more patient and
systematic
method to expose more of what it was and determine what it was.
Well, Wayne, the next question I'm going to ask is, you've just hit the tip of the iceberg. How much further are you going to excavate to find out what this really was?
This is it this summer. In fact, if we did not wrap up all of our trail studies early, we would not have the extra time to have made this much archaeology possible. It's very lucky for Delphi because this is right on a very picturesque spot between the Vanscoy Trail and the Wabash River, very near Sunset Point. In fact, we're going to call this site Sunset Point. And there will be a wonderful interpretation marker here sometime which will talk about the construction of the Wabash and Erie Canal and the lifestyles of the Irish workers who came here to dig it.
Earlier off camera, you indicated that history is very vague about this group of people, primarily because a lot of that time period believed that these people were not historically important. Will you be able to find out more information about this particular site, possibly?
Well, with our study here, once we take it back to Michigan State University and go through all the artifacts and wash them and clean them, we will get a good idea of some of the lifestyle around this structure, around this feature. And from there, we'll add it in with some of our historic documents, and hopefully we can come up with a brand new picture about this forgotten time period and this forgotten people.
Okay, will you come back and will you dig more of this up? Will it become a place that people will be able to walk up here and look down and say, that's the hearth for that mess hall?
Well, Michigan State may be involved in the future in doing more archaeology for Delphi, but that is really up to whether they wish to pursue another grant. What we have been doing is clearing their trails, and now that we've found this, which they're not going to build a trail across this, of course, but we have cleared vast areas for trail construction, and that's all we were hired to do. So if the city of Delphi wishes to see an archaeologist on the riverbank every summer, they're going to have to go out and look for National Register funds or for other funding sources which will provide more archaeological work.
Well, it sounds exciting, and when we come back after this break, we're going to find out exactly what Wayne and Aaron do in the process of finding artifacts along the historic Delphi trails. Stay tuned, won't you?
And nothing is worth anything either for anybody who is curious.
Yeah, well, it's worth something to us and for educational purposes, but
Yes.
it has no monetary value. You know, a lot of it is just, it's garbage.
It's what other people threw away only.
Now, you know, this brings up an interesting